everybody, and welcome to episode 50 of the World of DVC Show.
No, not 50. It's 49, episode 49.
49?
Uh-huh.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I'm not.
Marissa told me it was episode 50. I even posted it all over social media that we're celebrating 50 shows.
I did too.
Sorry.
Marissa?
Can't trust me right now.
Okay, ready? Let's back it up. So here we go, everybody. Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 49 of the World of DVC Show.
Much better.
We're still going to talk about all of your DVC confessions.
Yes.
We promise it's going to be a great, great show. So thanks for tuning in, and we promise we'll get to episode 50 eventually.
Someday.
Oh, did you get it right?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
I'm out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now entering the world of DVC, the ultimate DVC destination where magical vacations meet incredible value through exceptional service. Put in your headphones, turn the volume up, sit back, relax, and step into the world of DVC.
Just wish on a star. Enter the world of DVC.
Wow. Look at that.
Everybody.
This is
Hi.
It's so good when I see her come in here, and she was only a few minutes late today. And I reminded her because, of course, you know, she's expecting a beautiful baby girl. And I said, you never have to apologize for being late. You literally have a 9-month get out of jail free card for showing up.
Does that count when I have to like dress a little girl and do her hair? Like, that's a lifetime
Why
pass
does that
now,
give a
right?
pass, though?
That's true. So maybe it's longer than 9 months.
I think the rest of my life I've built in a pass for
You've got to pass.
running late.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 49.
Well, we're not really sure. We say 49.
49.
Thought it was 50.
We thought it was 50. Which I don't know if she gets a pass for that.
No.
But she's the one that told us that, hey, the next show we're taping is episode 50. So, hey, let's go into our awesome social media channels and ask them a great question, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So we've been pumping up episode 50. I've been getting all emotional. Like,
Well,
oh
I was just going to say, like,
God.
when you turn 50 in real life, it's like, oh, if I could only get 1 year back. And this time we're like, yay, we're 50, we made it. Oh, no, we're not.
Not
so this
quite.
sounds like, hold the applause. Not quite yet.
Quite yet.
July.
See you next month.
Yeah, see you next month.
But
for
we're
the
still
cake
going to
and
treat
confetti.
this episode like it's episode
The golden
50.
episode, yeah.
Like it's the golden one. So thank you all for coming.
Yes.
to
And
join us.
thank you, especially if you've been here for 49 times with us also. I mean, I cannot believe we've sat together for just about 49 times.
49 times?
We've all kind of sat in and sat out and whatnot, but it's been amazing. So we'll talk all about the emotion and the excitement of 50 next month. But this month, what were you going to say about...
Well, we asked you guys for this one, right? So for our, 50th episode,
50-ish.
we posted in some of our great social media channels, like we have DVC Fan and DVC Clubhouse, and we asked everybody and said, listen, we want to hear this is Marissa's idea, which is a great one too, which said, hey, we want to hear your Disney Vacation Club confessions, right? So we want to hear, do you have any stories that you want to tell us about Disney Vacation Club that you love telling people? Do you have any emotional stories? Do you have any funny stories?
Or ones that you don't love telling people. Like,
Exactly.
this is your confessional. So what could that be? I have one that I'm quite embarrassed about.
Well,
so I'll share that.
Danny submitted.
Yes, Danny and I have similar.
Danny's is very funny.
We're both. Hers might be a little better scenario than mine, but ours are similar.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
even when you work at DVC, for DVC,
you still
in
have
DVC,
those little oopsie moments.
People were sharing some stuff, and I was reading it, and I
know.
think I laughed out loud.
I
There's some
know.
good ones.
I definitely did laugh with Danny's because we know Danny, and if you've listened to Danny or heard her, you can kind of hear her tone and the way she tells a story. And so I just laughed because it really goes against like who Danny is. Danny's a pretty buttoned up, scheduled person, and this story is very funny. So we have to make sure to.
We got them
Danny's.
all.
Yeah,
so we're
there's
gonna,
some good ones.
Thank
we're
you for
gonna read
submitting
them later
They're
for
great.
like story time kind of.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna go through because thanks to you, we wouldn't be here for 49 episodes if it wasn't for you guys being able to contribute. So thank you for that. So we're gonna have an awesome show. Great prize to give away, a very fun prize to prizes.
Well, tell him.
Yeah, I'll just tell you.
You
came
always
up with
do
it.
that, and then like.
So what is it? The anticipation.
We thought in honor of the 49th show, we said we have to play off that because it's not the 50th, it's the 49th. I asked our marketing director if we could get permission to give away not just one, but 2 Disney gift cards for $49 each. And it got approved. So stay tuned for your chance to see how you can win one of 2 gift cards for not $50, $49.
That's right.
We're going to milk this 49 thing as long as we possibly can. And this was my milking hands.
Oh my gosh. If you're only listening to this episode, you may want to watch it because that was epic what just happened, and a little whatever. Okay,
so you want to tell them how to get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So we...
Because I think you came up with this one too.
I did come up with this one about 30 seconds before we started taping.
Yeah.
So we thought, how about if you guys let us know what topics you would like to see us cover throughout the year. So throughout like the next year, let us know in those comments. Let us know, is there some kind of a topic that you're dying to know more about? Not really a specific question, but like, hey, Marissa, Kerri, I would love to maybe know more about, buying if I live outside the United States.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Or I would love to know more about this topic or whatever. Let us know.
Yeah.
So put that in the comments. And again, send us an email to info@worldofdvc.com. What topics would you like to see? So when you see our show appear on your YouTube feed and you see that topic name, you go, my God, they listened to me.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
actually
They
did.
listened, yeah.
Because we do.
Yeah.
So let us
Love
know.
it.
And you'll know if you won because you'll get a $49 gift card to spend. So again, do that. Let us know. It's going to be a fun show because again, it's driven by you, not just the prize, but also your stories that you all helped contribute. So
Love that.
Before we get into that, Kerri, let's talk about what Disney stuff we've done.
Oh my gosh.
Over the last month and a half, I feel like.
So we had such a great Disney month, really, because my niece Olivia, who was here for her Disney college program, who has now since left because the college program has completed, which I feel like that was the fastest 5 months of our lives.
When you posted she's leaving, I was like, can't be
yet.
already.
We all say the same thing. I mean, she did too. She was mixed leaving. You're excited to get back home into a routine, but that girl is going to miss doing Guardians of the Galaxy 50 times every day because that's what she did all the time. It was hysterical. Her little group of friends would like get together and bet on what song they would get, and then they'd stand in line for 2 hours. And I said, "What do you do in line for 2 hours?" She's like, "We'd read a book. We would talk."
Where did she work?
She worked at the land, Living with the Land, which she'd always joke and be like, "I can get you fast passes or, lightning lane on Living with the Land." We're like, okay, Olivia. But she loved it because she's a biology major. So it made sense for her to do that. But she also turned 21.
Oh, my.
While she was here on the college program. So what do you do when you turn 21 on the Disney college program? You want to drink around the world. And by drinking around the world, for those of us who are not 21, it was like 2 drinks and we were done because it's hot and humid. But I got her a stay at the BoardWalk, and we did a 1-bedroom at the BoardWalk. It was, I have to say, I mean, I'll always be real on what doesn't work, if something's wrong. That was a picture-perfect experience. From the cast member to the room, the whole resort was perfect. And I just read recently online, somebody said, if I can give anybody some advice, don't do online check-in, go to the front desk. And I could not agree more with that. So we went to the front desk at we did studios that day, and then I went to the front desk probably around 2 o'clock, so it wasn't too early. Yeah. But I said, it's her 21st birthday. Is there any way, we could have a really great room? And they were like, we'll do our best. And while we did not have a boardwalk view, it wasn't anything, no fireworks, it was, for what she wanted, a perfect first floor right off the pool. And it was like right off the quiet pool. So you could hear Phantasmic at night when we came home. And the room was spotless. It was beautiful. Nice. Just the whole resort, the cast members. It was A+ the entire way. So my hat's off to the BoardWalk. We had the best time. So we had her cake there and her presents. And, we often talk about, too, like, coming to Disney for different reasons and celebrations, and that's kind of what makes DVC so special, is that you're not crammed in this little hotel room. Well, my house is literally around the corner. We could have done something there. But to have the 1-bedroom at the BoardWalk, and then her birthday button, and everybody saying happy birthday as we're walking in, and my other niece Bridget and I, we took in all the balloons and the champagne and the cake and everything. So it just made it, my house would have been special, but I think the BoardWalk just elevated it for her. It was awesome. Nice. So then the next day we got up, went over to Epcot, did our drinking around the world, having helped myself, my sister, and my brother-in-law. But and where did we start? we started in Mexico.
Good.
We
started the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Started in Mexico, went all the way around, and then that night we had dinner at Steakhouse 71.
How fun.
Yeah, it was great. Again, another great experience.
Yeah.
The server was amazing. The food was delicious. I like Steakhouse 71 better than when it first opened. I wasn't a huge fan when it first opened, but I think they've done some great things to really plus up the menu. The restaurant also felt much brighter because the ceiling is so low in there.
Yeah.
I always felt like you're walking into a cave,
Yeah.
kind of. And I used to do a lot of Club 33 meetings in there. Like that's where we would meet a lot of our prospective members. And I always felt like I was walking into like this super secret dark cave, which for Club 33 works. But if you're trying to do a fun celebration, it's like it's kind of dark.
Yeah.
It was so bright. The service was great. The food was great. I mean, it was the whole weekend was awesome.
See?
Yeah, so happy birthday to my sweet little Olivia, who's 21. We can't believe it. I know. And now she's back in Delaware. She's going to go back to school and finish her degree. And I think she's dying to get back to Disney and she's missing
and
the
ride
magic.
Living with the Land again.
Of course, that's her signature. And like she said, I said to her, "What was your favorite kind of portion of working there, your job?" And she said, "Loading the boats, putting the boats away at the end of the night." I said, "That was your favorite thing to do?" She's like, "I was so good at it."
Oh my gosh.
So you never know.
Never know.
Hidden talent. But one of the sweet things that she said was on her last day, the cast member who was loading the boats told the whole entire boat that it was her last day, that she was leaving the program. So everybody sang to her. Everybody sang happy birthday. They sang, they wished her well. And as she said, as everyone was getting off the boat on her last shift, she was just crying because all the guests were saying, like, "Thank you, Olivia." And she's like, "I don't even know these people." And so I think that's a special moment, too, for the guests that the cast members made, too.
Fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was wonderful. It was great. And I miss her so much being here. I loved having her here the first half of the year.
Great.
But it was great. It was such a great way to end, I think, a really great experience now. And now she's a CP alum, which is so cool.
That is awesome.
Kept in the family.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great.
So that's what we did in May.
And you
kind
speaking
of
of boats,
set sail. Yes. Speaking of living with the
There's a
land and the
segue.
sea, exactly. We will sail on over to Marissa's Adventures on the High Seas.
Yep, we jumped on the Disney Wish for a weekend, a long weekend trip, and
So
it was
fun.
wonderful. I did just a mother-son getaway with my son who had just turned 8, so it was like a surprise birthday.
Yep.
So I had surprised him. The cruise took place 3 days after his birthday,
Yeah.
so I surprised him the morning of the cruise. And was like,
he didn't know before
he
that.
literally didn't know?
No.
Oh my God.
So I was waiting for him to like wake up that day and say, "I'm bored, Mom."
Well, I
Let
have
me tell
something
you.
for you to do.
And at first he was kind of like he didn't quite understand it. And then I was like, "No, we're going on the cruise." And then he got really
How
excited.
did you tell him?
gosh.
Like
I just said, "Hey, what do you want to do today?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Why don't we just go take a cruise?"
really?
Yep.
Oh my God.
A Living with the Land cruise? No.
Yeah.
A Disney Wish cruise?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So it was fantastic.
Awesome.
It was so cool. It's his very first cruise. And
Yeah.
as you know my history, I've been on the cruises for 10 years. So
Yeah.
it was so cool to have like that full circle moment.
Yeah.
I teared up a little bit like at the sail away party because it was like that, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, we're doing it.
Yeah.
And he loved it. And what I was so excited about is he loved the shows. And I wasn't sure because you
Yeah.
don't know with boys, and he's not like a huge movie kid. He's not a huge show kid. So I was like, he's all into sports. And so I wasn't sure how that was going to be. But the first night we went to the show, which is kind of like a collab show where they have all the different, like Mickey, Minnie, Goofy. And it's Goofy learning to be the captain of the ship. And then he's going around he ends up with the princesses. He ends up with Moana. So it's like little, like,
I've never seen them
one-offs.
because we were always working.
Yes, yeah.
I've
And
never
so
seen it.
that first night we went to the show and he loved it. And I was like,
that's so great.
So that was fun. He loved the Aqua Mouse, which is the roller coaster.
Oh, yes.
The water roller coaster on board. Loved that.
Yeah.
He the kids club was like his age group it was about 4 years old to 10, and I think that's a pretty wide range.
It is.
Especially as you get to like 8-year-old and up boys. I like for girls they had arts and crafts or like princesses, and I think they're still a little bit in that stage where boys are like, I just want to like throw a ball at your face.
I don't want to play with a 4-year-old baby.
Yeah.
They can't do anything.
It's like toddlers, just out of the toddler stage. Yeah.
So we did a lot, but they have the Hero Zone upstairs, which is like they have like an Incredicourse course, like a blow up Incredicourse course. They have air hockey, they have foosball, ping pong. So we spent a lot of time there, a lot of time at the pool, but it was wonderful.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Oh, that's
wonderful.
so great.
So fun.
exciting.
3-night cruise?
We did a 3-night cruise. Yeah.
So fun.
And I'm sure you already booked another one to go back.
We're planning it.
I
don't know. I gotta strategize now with the newborn and how that's gonna work.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so awesome.
But I will say, like, I think for us, we kind of teeter on the edge. Really, like, I wanted to take him for years. And then I think COVID hit, and it was like, okay, well, now's not the right time. And then I just kept putting it off.
Yeah.
So I will say, like, word of advice, if you're saying, we want to do that Disney cruise, and you're worried about, like, what age. Yeah. If they're too little, if they're too old, just do it.
Yeah.
There's something for
You'll figure it
everybody.
out.
Everybody, like, loves it, has moments. Actually, Christy, who works here at Magic Vacation Title in our office, she's actually on a 3-day cruise with her daughter.
Right now?
So they're doing, and so
I
she
didn't know.
messaged me as soon as she found out, because she was like,
that's awesome.
oh, you did a mother-son cruise. I'm doing a mother-daughter cruise. She's like, but my daughter is 19.
Yeah.
And so she's like, it'll be very different. But I was like,
Yes.
oh, well, that's great. You can start to take advantage of, like, the spa and then, like, the evening, like, events and things like that. So I do think if you have been sitting on the edge and you're like, we need to do a cruise at some point, just book the cruise.
It is truly, I think, everything wonderful that Disney has to offer. I don't think there's anything better than a cruise.
Yes.
Honestly. It's just... It's just amazing. It's
and
just
it's
an amazing
you get
experience.
reminded of that. It's been a while since I've been back, but just to be able to walk around the corner and, like, Pluto was there and he grabs Caden's hand and they just go walking around the ship and you just get so much more access than you would in the theme park.
Yes. Yeah. The access to the characters, and then, like you said, the shows are just such an amazing caliber. If they do, like, a little semi-formal night or whatever with the pictures and stuff, like, that's always so special. You will figure it out.
Yes.
You will definitely figure it out, and it's superb.
Yes.
And I think,
That's
too,
awesome.
so many people, and not just with a cruise, but so many people say, well, I don't know if I'm ready to take my kids to Disney because they're too young. Or they won't, this is what I've heard for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
They won't remember.
They won't remember.
It doesn't matter because you know who's going to remember? You. You're going to remember.
Yeah.
I've been taking my kids to Disney World since they were babies and we lived outside Chicago. And I have so many pictures and so many great memories of them when I was holding them and baby and they'd have fits and strollers up and down and renting everything else. So they may not specifically remember, oh, I remember that trip when I was 1 or I remember that trip when I was 5. They might not, but you do. And
those are the memories that go up on your wall at home. That's your Christmas card. Those are the calendars you give to the grandparents at the end of the year. Like, that's what's so special is that they may not remember, but you're right, Derek. Like, you will remember that and hold that.
Yeah, you're going to remember.
That.
That's why you buy this club. Because then you get to keep coming back.
It's so true.
So you get to come back again and again and again. So memories is what it's all about.
Speaking of memories, you had a big celebration.
You had a big celebration also.
Man, we're like
in the theme of-
we are the king and queens of segues on this trip. Yes, it was my Disney experience wasn't quite as elaborate as a cruise or spending overnight at the BoardWalk, but it was for my 29th wedding anniversary. We went to...
Not 30th.
No.
Yours is 29, just like we're 49.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Nice one, too.
Thanks.
Yeah, so we went back to the Wilderness Lodge, a.k.a. Copper Creek, a.k.a. Boulder Ridge. We went back to the Wilderness Lodge because 29 years ago on that day, May 13th, 1996, we got married at the Wedding Pavilion and had our honeymoon at the Wilderness Lodge.
Oh, how special.
So we knew we were going on vacation with the family to the Florida Keys that next week, so we didn't want to go away anywhere. So we're like, what can we do? We're like, you know what? Let's just drive to the Wilderness Lodge. And let's go eat at Geyser Point. Let's have some, wine and champagne and just kind of celebrate and just be at the place where we were 29 years ago. So it was great. We loved it. We had such a great afternoon, and it was just so fun to eat at Geyser Point and look around and say, my God, we were babies 29 years ago. We got married here, walked around in our tuxedo and Annie's wedding dress, and we had so many great fans from the show would come up and just kind of notice us and say, oh, hey, we watch you guys all the time. So that was just really, really sweet. So it was great. It was a great day. And then we thought for a split second after eating at Geyser Point, we go, God, we're right here. Should we go to the Magic Kingdom maybe at night and kind of walk around? And then we realized and said, no. Absolutely. I'm tired. I just want to drive home. So we said another day. After you eat a bison burger and some wine, you're like, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
But so we just decided to go.
I heard Geyser Point changed some of their furniture.
They changed the furniture.
Did you like it more?
No.
Or,
it's fine.
Now
it's just regular seats.
There's no like loungy seats.
No. I always thought that's what made it kind of
I
cool.
agree with you.
And
Yeah.
kind of different. Is you felt like you sat on these like couches.
Yeah,
So
we
it
love
just
that.
had a different
And they don't
vibe.
have that
Especially with
anymore.
little kids. Like, you don't feel like they're stuck in a chair. They can
Exactly.
run
It was
around.
more
space. It was just more
chill.
relaxing, yeah.
But I will say, the restaurant's still fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
As
I
always,
love
I love
Geyser
it. They've
Point.
streamlined their check-in area, so just know that there's a different place where you check in as opposed to before. So you kind of scan and you do like a virtual check-in, all that. So it's very, very well run. And the food was phenomenal, as always. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was just so much fun to just. And it's funny that you mentioned that you went with your niece for her 21st. Because we own at the BoardWalk. And
right.
one of our rare bookings where we used our 11-month window is we booked on December 26th. Mm-hmm. We booked because my son Owen turns 21.
Is he 21 on
So
the
we
26th?
booked the BoardWalk for December the 26th.
21.
So that's where we're going to be. So
I love it.
One of the rare times I use my 11-month
You
booking
planned
window.
it.
I know.
My
Oh my
goodness.
I
gosh.
just want one night.
Yeah.
What are we going to book? I'm like, well, all right, let's take
That's
him over
fantastic.
to
Yeah.
Epcot and
Yeah.
do that. So yeah, it was fun. So
Her last night in town too, Olivia's last night before she went home from her college program, we went over to the tower at the Polynesian because that was one of her. I think we dined there the first night she was in town for the college program, so she wanted to end it and kind of bookend it. And again, just a phenomenal experience over there. Yeah,
See?
love the menu, great service, the view is amazing.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
I love being able to share our stuff. Because, I mean, yes, we talk about breaking news and we talk about this or so many times people tend to focus on, well, this isn't how it used to be or this doesn't have to. I can tell you, the magic's still there. Whether it's on a ship or whether it's
such
in
a good point.
Living with the Land or whether
Listen,
it's
the
wherever
magic
it
is alive and well at Living with the Land. But I agree with you, Derek. Like, we think about, and, I think I live a lot of times, too, going, oh, it's not the same and this and that and everything. But at the end of the day, we had a phenomenal experience. And you just have to look at it for what it is, not what it was. I look at Magic Kingdom and all the changes coming there. I think Cars Land looks adorable over at Magic Kingdom. It looks amazing. But my little traditionalist heart goes, oh, but the Rivers of America. But they'll be, I know, shut up. Exactly. It's a whole other
look
topic.
At Tom Sawyer Island that no one ever went on.
So adorable.
Why did they have to get rid of it?
I know, but that's
because no one ever went there.
I know. And I know that they'll do a nod to it. But so you have to look forward with excitement. That's all I'm trying to say. So I bang on the table. We have to look forward with excitement.
Yes.
And speaking of memories, before we get into your favorite DVC confessions, we have a little bit of news from around the world of DVC. Insert Jeff's swoosh noise here. Why don't you start? Because you were talking about stuff that I think was very important. When you said you were going to cover this topic, I thought you were going to talk about this. And then I was like, oh, God, duh. Of course you have to talk about that. So
okay, so you be quiet.
I think, like, in the scheme of things, as we look at kind of the biggest news in DVC right now, obviously is the latest changes that Disney made when it came to renting points. Yeah. And so I've heard a lot of rumblings. Our team has done a fantastic job. If you're curious, I'm going to put the links into the description here. But head over to DVC Rental Store. Our president, Tony, did a press release, and it very comprehensively explains where we stand as a company. Mm-hmm. But then Paul also did a fantastic job on DVC Fan, really breaking down kind of how this affects you as a member, how it affects you as a guest. And so I would highly recommend take some time, read both of those blogs. But for those of you wondering, hey, I've heard rumblings, and I will tell you whether it's been at like a birthday party or it's been just some like random people texting me being like, hey, I can't rent points anymore, right? Yeah. And so I wanted to just kind of go ahead and take a moment and kind of dive into that just a little bit on this episode. I'm not going to deep dive, but really, truly what changed, right? And so now when you go to book anything on your DVC account, so when you log in as a DVC member, you click a button that says this is for personal use. And that is a new button. Mm-hmm. Now, the verbiage has always been there, but the physical clicking of the button is a new addition. And so that's got a lot of people wondering, well, that means I can't rent points, right? Well, let's go back a little bit. When you join Disney Vacation Club, and we know for working for Disney directly for many, many years, you can go to a presentation right now and meet with a DVC guide. Mm-hmm. You can go and look at a DVC contract. You are allowed to rent your points. In fact, renting your points is considered personal use. You own those points. You can use them. You can gift them to friends and family. You can rent them out. And so I think the personal use threw people off a little because they're like, oh, that means if I'm not personally using it, nobody else can. No, that's not the case. So what is the case? Well, Disney wants to discourage this becoming a commercial opportunity. So what does commercial mean? Well, that's going to be somebody, and there's a very few of them out there, but there's players in the industry who are buying large chunks of points, and their entire purpose is to take those large chunk of points and rent them out on the market and then make a profit. So it's a full business operation. Disney wants to buckle down on those. Why? Well, because guests are complaining about availability, not finding what they want. It's not the one-off member who's renting points to Jane and Joe Smith. No, it's this company who's buying up large amount of points and then doing massive amount of bookings. So that's what Disney's cracking down on. And so really where they're flagging, and they used to put this in like the fine print, they don't anymore, but they used to be flagging members who rent over 20 reservations a year, who have more than that 2,000 to 8,000 point range, who are buying all these points and only using them. Even if you're a member with a large amount of points, even if you have 1,000 plus points, if you're not taking them and the sole purpose is not just renting, if you're renting, let's say every few years, or you're using points sometimes and then renting the rest to offset the cost of dues, that's totally fine. That's still considered that personal use. And so again, we're going to unfold this as we see kind of where Disney starts to land on all of that. But just for peace of mind, know that Rental Store has been operating since this changed. Nothing has changed. No canceled reservations, no red flags. If we happen to see that in the industry with other different players out there, we'll be sure to note it. We're the first ones to come out for that news. But just to kind of put a little bit of ease on everybody, if you're looking to rent points, that's still totally fine. If you're looking to rent out your points as a member, totally fine. But on top of that, it speaks further to why would you rent points with Rental Store, with DVC Rental Store and the team there, because you're dealing with a company that's going to have your back. No, we're not the commercial company. We're the intermediary, right? However, we're looking out for the best interest of our guests. So for example, Disney can cancel reservations for not complying to the membership. So if you're a member and you've rented your points to Kerri and you don't pay your dues that year, guess what? Disney's canceling that reservation for Kerri. So we've had that happen. There's humans out there who make mistakes, right? And so when that happens, what we've done, we've gone ahead and booked that reservation out of our pocket to make sure Kerri gets that stay. Versus if you went onto a random Facebook group.
Pay your dues, Kerri.
You were the one who didn't pay your dues. I'm the one paying my dues.
But if you're going around on the side and you don't have that guarantee, then Kerri goes to check in and they're like, sorry, that was the member's bad. And there's nothing they're going to do for you at that point. So it does speak to that. It's also something that we look out for in our intermediary agreement. When members come and rent, we make sure that they check off that they're not a commercial renter so that you're not getting in a situation. Now, again, if you're just going kind of randomly and renting from people you don't know, you don't have that protection. So it just speaks to, again, in this industry, why rent with DVC Rental Store.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yep.
Great point. And so we have over on the DVC resale market, Kerri, why don't you tell them?
Lots of things.
As we've got limited time left on an awesome promotion. And I love this promotion before you take over because I love it.
Why don't you just talk it?
No, because people will find a perfect listing, right? And I'll talk to them, whether it's online or whether it's on live chat, or they'll call in and they'll say, I love this listing, blah, blah, blah. So do you think there's a little bit of wiggle room maybe on the price? And then I tell them, yes, usually there is. And then I go, oh my God, look at this. Scroll down because some of these listings also have what?
The bonus savings. So you'll see it at dvcresalemarket.com. The little red moniker on the side will say $500, $750, or $1,000 for bonus savings. And you just have to click that and then talk to your agent to see if there might be even a little bit more wiggle room. But you are already getting that savings, which is amazing. So the clock is ticking on that. I would say act fast because those are going very quickly as well.
Yeah, it is. So many
Love
fun
bonus
things
savings.
going on.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I love about our businesses, whether it's the rental store, whether it's Be Our Guest Vacations, whether it's the DVC resale market, there's always something. Always something cool.
Yeah. Well, and one more cool thing is we head into party season because we're there. We're in it.
Party season? Oh, like
Mickey's Not So Scary is already on sale. Just around the corner is Very Merry Christmas Party, which usually happens around July.
Food and wine is happening.
So just a little notice on that. when it comes to Unlock Magic, so unlockmagic.com has the best prices. You can shop around and compare all you want, but you're going to find the lowest prices on Disney and Universal tickets. Well, this week we just launched the special promotions tickets. So we have the Not So Scary tickets on there now. And in July, when Very Merry comes out, we'll have those too. Now, we offer 10% on those tickets.
Wonderful.
To give you an idea, 10%, the tickets average about like $150 to $200.
Right.
So that's going to be $15 to $20 savings per ticket. The DVC member discount on tickets is $10. So that trumps any annual
pass.
It's
not 10%. It's just $10. $10.
Only on select nights.
Oh,
so as you get into like September, October,
that's great.
They don't offer that for DVC members.
Yeah.
So for my DVC members out there, annual pass holders, if you think you get a good deal there, make sure to check out Unlock Magic because we have amazing deals on those special promos.
That's such a great, and it's so much fun to go to. You know, like you said, the memories and the pictures and this that. Those are some of the events. Like, you have to do it at least once.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep.
So much good stuff.
Yeah, it's great news.
Speaking of good stuff, let's get into your good stuff.
So I have to tell you,
Please.
One of the reasons why I wanted to do this topic, because I was thinking about like my time through DVC, right? And I was like, what could be a fun one that we ask about? And so I wanted to think about like mistakes with DVC, sure, we could do that. But like the DVC confessionals, I was like, oh, that's a good one. Because it could be like the good, the bad, or the ugly.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to cover it all. So I'll quickly share kind of what inspired mine. My aunt had some extra points that were going to expire.
Yeah.
So she's like, hey, I'll book you a couple rooms here and there. So we agreed on a 2-bedroom at the beach club. I had never taken my son to the beach club, so I was super excited because I was like, oh, it'll be a perfect time. This is when he was really little. To go enjoy the pool, all of that. And so I think I said, like, yeah, June 28th would be great, or June 29th. And I think she went ahead and booked June 28th. Somehow there was a miscommunication. And I don't know if she ever sent, like, the reservation over, or I missed it.
Oh, no.
Who knows? But June 29th rolls around. And it's checkout time for that stay because it was a one-night stay.
Oh, my God.
And I called DVC and I was like, is there anything you can do? And they were like, oh, no, those points are used. Like, that night is gone.
Yeah, they're laughing.
So,
they're like, oh, sure, the beach club?
Yeah.
On the day of? Yeah, hold on, we'll be right back.
So they did. They kind of laughed at me. So it was a lesson learned of like, hey, check your calendar. Like, double check, triple check. You don't want to lose those nights. But even the experts in DVC, we can make some fun
little errors.
Yeah,
oh my
that's
gosh.
funny. I had mine, which made me think of my little boo-boo. You know how when they text you after you check in and your room's not ready, they send you that text, right? Hey, your room is ready, room 6420.
I had this happen.
Yeah. So we went to Saratoga. It was quite a while ago. The kids were younger. We're at the pool because the room was not ready yet. I happened to look on my phone. I see the thing from Disney. I'm like, go, the room's ready. Let's go. So we load up. We're all wet. We go, okay, room, whatever, 6520. So we get in the car. We drive to whatever building it was in 6520. We go up. We're like, where's the room? Like, it's not ready. Like, why? What is going on? Like, we're not supposed to get in there. This is crazy. We're asking people to help us. Turns out I never deleted the old one. I know there's people out there that probably have a trail.
I have
of
a
text
whole trail. I don't delete them.
Then
I get so confused.
From various Disney front desks, right? That throughout the years, I looked at the wrong one. And I was like, oh, crap. Our room is
done that.
not ready.
You wasn't ready.
It's probably not even the same resort.
I was on a different resort. That's what I was thinking. So I'm over in room like 6520, and this
Meanwhile,
is
it's like Vero Beach.
yeah.
Oh my god.
So that was it. So that's my confessional story. So now I'm always very clear. Whenever they text us with the room, as soon as I'm in the room, it's swipe, delete.
Yeah.
Smart.
I don't want any kind of a trail for that whatsoever. It's still so stupid.
I didn't think to actually delete them, but I've done that same thing.
I know everybody out there has. I know you guys have.
I haven't.
I know you have. So let's do this. We're going to because we want to get through as many of these as we can.
Absolutely.
As much as we're going to want to comment on them, because some of them are awesome, and I just want to plow through.
Yeah, let's...
Like, as many as I can. So we're just going to read the names. Because, you know...
Speed reader over here. Ready,
someone's going to share...
Did you have coffee before you sat down?
I'm saying someone's going to share a really great one and share a great story. And then you're going to want to comment on it. And then I'm going to comment on it. And then Marissa's going to kick me under the table saying, we got to speed it up.
Can I tell you something? We've done this before.
Yeah, with 6-hour show.
No.
So here.
Oh my gosh.
Here, we'll just kind of...
All right.
just plow through
it. Mine is funny. Mine is definitely one I wanted to read.
So start with yours.
Okay.
And I took off everybody's last name.
Okay.
But
this is Danny, not Danny from our team, but Danny with a Y. His actually did make me laugh.
Yeah.
I invited friends who became very flaky and demanding about planning. Not even about Disney-specific planning, just the travel plans in general. And I didn't think they deserved a poly stay that I originally booked for us. So I switched the reservation from Poly to Saratoga, which I love, but used the balance of the points to get a 1-bedroom on the next trip.
See,
so if you go with a DVC member and you get too needy,
just remember, they hold some power.
You're not going to be on a monorail resort.
Yeah, that's a great one. So here, let me touch base on this one from Tanya, who says, we visited Disney for our once-in-a-lifetime trip in August of last year with money we inherited after losing my parents to COVID. We never had the money or time to vacation before. Well, we now own Resale at Animal Kingdom and Old Key West and have become a Disney family. We had our welcome home stay in March, and we're scheduled to come down again for Jersey Week. Our next project is swapping some points with you guys for a Universal stay.
Awesome.
Next vacation is a priority for us, and we make lasting memories with our kids. I learned so much from the show, and you guys helped me through some pretty hard days. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Tanya. That's beautiful.
And you're going to have to tell us about your Universal. Do a quick video. We'll plug you in the show.
Please. That's a great idea.
Swap.
Send us just a quick little snippet, right, of doing a Universal stay. That's wonderful. Tanya, we wish you a great stay. Mine is from Amy. And Amy says, back in 2009, when Allie and my nephew were 4 and our youngest kids were around 1, my sister and I took Allie and Alex to Walt Disney World for a big kids trip. We repeated that trip in 2019 and then again in 2023. I love that DVC has given me the ability to create memories and traditions like that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's Amy.
We know Amy.
We know Amy.
Amy.
This one's from Heidi,
Amy.
and she said, I convinced my fiance, now husband, to buy our first DVC Direct Point contract for Riviera, sight unseen, in February 2023. We'd already booked a trip for April, spring break, our first time going to Disney World together, and his as an adult, staying at Pop Century. They couldn't switch us to Riviera on such late notice with our contract because it closed in March. We were bummed, but I was able to book us one night at Riviera when I was returning the next month in June for a teacher's conference. I didn't tell him until he arrived that weekend. Needless to say, he was blown away. I will never forget watching the fireworks from our bed in a duo studio that night. There's nothing like when you become a DVC member and watching the fireworks. Yes. For the first time. There's nothing like
from your room.
Yes,
because
from your
you
room.
don't feel like you have to be in the park to watch it.
You're perfectly happy just sitting there in your pajamas on the balcony.
Love it.
Nothing better.
Yep.
That's why I don't like watching the Magic Kingdom fireworks from the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, why?
Because halfway through the show, I'm already panicking because I have to leave.
Stressed to get, It's
stressful.
Just book a Grand Floridian.
We weren't going to comment.
Yeah.
Wasn't going to comment.
I know, but we did. We couldn't help it.
I can't help it. These are so good.
I know.
So Candy says, okay, does buying a second contract before the first one ever closed count? Right after buying an out-of-state annual pass because I thought I'd be taking my grandkids this year. Fun fact, their parents don't want to go just yet. So now I'm 3 months into ownership and just got back from 5 nights at 3 resorts with my niece, her very first trip, and have a 13-night solo trip planned for August, also at 3 different resorts. I guess you can say I jumped right in, laugh out loud, send help.
We are not the people to send help, right?
That's a great
we are on board,
confessional.
Candy, with everything you're doing.
That's so
Have
good.
the best time. This one is from Seth, and Seth says, so as a DVC member, we have been nothing but impressed with our room stays, but the one room we stayed in at the Riviera topped all rooms because we stayed in a standard view 1-bedroom, but it overlooked Epcot. And we had one heck of a fireworks view and Spaceship Earth, which our kids used as a nightlight. Great nightlight. Glad we bought our first contract there and can't wait to stay in that room again.
Oh,
I mean,
awesome.
that's not the best
great
nightlight,
standard
right?
view.
That's cool.
This is from Jeff. So traveled to Florida for spring training for baseball in March of 2020. It was a Vero stay, then on to Saratoga Springs. Was there when the MLB closed down for COVID on March 12th. Wondering, along with the Vero bartender, if the parks and resorts were next. After a little reshuffling of our park days and a lot of cancellations for obvious reasons, we scored 2 nights at the Grand Floridian and were there through the park closures. Eerie sights, but made the most of our little trip with little interruptions.
Wow.
You know, he put a picture, we'll put, if you can find that picture in the group chat, he put a picture of, you know, on your TVs where it shows you like the park hours and everything?
Yes.
And it said park closed all day, essentially.
Oh, wow.
And it's so like, it was definitely, and I mean, we all remember that time, but there's something about like, everything started to close down like March 10th, 11th, 12th. But I think, was it March 14th when Disney shut down? There was something about that March 14th date when you like heard the theme parks are all closing. And that was just a very real feeling.
Very real.
God, we could do a whole show on just those memories.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
From
we all of us have them. Yeah.
So Joan says, member since 98 and so many great DVC memories. I miss the water sprites. Right on, Joan.
Yeah, the water sprites.
Those little boats were so much fun and got us into trouble. Back in 2007, our family of 4 with 2 teenage kids took out 2 boats from the yacht club. We're riding by the side of the boardwalk when my husband convinced a cast member sailing a larger boat to, hey, circle us and make a ton of waves. Those little sprites were really jumping with those waves. My boat that my teen was driving was filling up with water that I tried to bail it out with my hat. I never laughed so hard. Needless to say, we lost 4 cell phones that day.
Oh my gosh.
These are true confessions.
Oh
right
My gosh, that's a good one.
Joan, did you say? Wow, Joan she's living on the edge. Oh my gosh. Were they DVC Resale Market bucket hats, I want to know?
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this one's from Tower. And Tower says, my family of 7 was checking into our 2-bedroom at the beach club last summer for a single night as I was grocery shopping. I am the DVC owner, and my sister called to inform me that the hotel manager said they had overbooked and asked if they could move us to another resort. They were traveling with 3 teenagers, and I knew they really wanted to swim at Stormalong Bay, so I declined. The manager goes on to offer us the use of the beach club pool that day and moving us to a grand villa for the night at Bay Lake Tower. I again declined, and in a desperate move, she offered us a grand villa at Bay Lake Tower with a theme park view and the return of our points for that one night. Whoa. So essentially, we stayed for free at Bay Lake Tower in a stunning grand villa with theme park views, and we still got to swim at the beach club pool for the afternoon. Suffice it to say, it was an offer we could not refuse. We used the leftover points to stay an extra night the following week. We watched the Magic Kingdom fireworks from our balcony in tears. What did we just say?
Yep.
We still reminisce about that evening and the core memories we made. Talk about magical pixie dust. One of the best examples of why DVC is totally worth it. I have chills with that story.
I love
And the negotiation skills.
I'm telling
there.
you,
no,
right?
Just
No
I'm going to
thanks,
hold out
no
a little
thanks,
bit longer,
no
a little bit longer.
I love these stories so much because it goes from, Tower's story of now I'm in a, penthouse grand villa at Bay Lake Tower. Meanwhile, Joan lost 4 cell phones.
Still had the time of her life.
Yeah, exactly. Jumping waves over there
Sorry,
at the
Joan.
Grand Floridian. Oh, my God.
Oh, goodness. All right, this one's from Lauren. She said, because of DVC, we took the best vacation last year with our niece, 4 years my junior, her husband and son. It was magical. We got studios next door on the 8th floor at Riviera. There's lots of magic at Riviera with these confessionals. Nightly fireworks views.
Yeah.
The Skyliner, the food, we had the perfect weather. Their son, my daughter, loved it so much, and it was a surprise to the kids. We got the cutest video when they first saw each other on the lawn behind the Riviera, and memories to last a lifetime. DVC is an investment in Disney vacations and lifelong core memories. We treasure every stay, but this one was amazing.
Love it.
That's
Love
so
it.
good. All right, I got one here. This is from good old Uncle Joe from Boston.
Oh, we love Uncle
What up, Joe?
from Boston.
Uncle Joe from Boston says, one of many unforgettable memories was one foggy night at Old Key West. Well, we got off on the wrong bus stop, and we walked around for an hour looking for Building 42. Finally, a cast member rode by us in a golf cart after we flagged him down. We told him that, look, we're lost, and if you could please bring us to Building 42, he said, sure, hop in. He then put the golf cart in reverse, drove us 12 feet, and said, here you are.
Oh, Uncle Joe from Boston.
Oh, that's a good
That's hysterical. I love the sense of humor of the cast member, too, that didn't just say, you're right there.
Just keep going.
Hop in. Oh, that's the best.
Well,
So this one is from Patricia, and Patricia said, we had a studio booked at the Grand Californian and decided to add a night in a cash room at the beginning of the trip. The cast member who checked us in surprised us and gave us a 1-bedroom for our cash room. It was almost a letdown to check into the DVC studio the following day.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
The Grand
This
Californian.
one is from Patrick, and he said, in 2004, fresh off the joy of our wedding, my wife and I spent our honeymoon at Disney's All-Stars Resort. We were young, in love, and soaking up every magical moment. One afternoon, we wandered into the grounds of Disney's Wilderness Lodge, completely by accident. What we saw took our breath away. The towering timbers, the crackling fireplace, the serene lake, it felt like something out of a dream. We asked the cast member, how much would a night cost to stay here? They gave us the number and we laughed and said, well, we'll never be able to stay here. It wasn't disappointment, it was just awe. The kind of place that felt worlds away from where we were in life, but we carried the memory with us. Fast forward to 2020. Life had changed in so many ways. A family, careers, and a deeper love for Disney that had only grown stronger over the years. That year, we made the decision we never thought possible back in 2004. We bought Disney Vacation Club at the Riviera Resort. Suddenly, the kinds of stays we had only dreamed about, Wilderness Lodge, Grand Floridian, Animal Kingdom, were ours. The magic didn't feel close. It felt like home. What once seemed impossible had become a reality. And every time we check into a DVC resort, we smile, remembering our honeymoon moment when we said, we'll never be able to stay there. Because thanks to DVC, we can and we do.
Oh,
That's awesome.
God, that's a commercial.
I do love that. I mean,
Yeah.
how, like, when you go back to your Disney files, right, of your history of going to Disney, how many times have you rode the monorail and gone past Grand Floridian and been like, well, I'll never stay there. Like, and so there's such a feeling when you walk in and you're DVC and you're staying at one of those resorts where you're like, never.
Right.
Well, it's so funny, and I get chills from that just reading that because they were on their honeymoon and thought this was out of control. I just said, did our honeymoon there before we were members, and we're like, all right, we're splurging it up, but this is our honeymoon. Next year, we're back to Port Orleans, for our trip for our 1-year anniversary. But so it's just crazy how you can just come full circle. I love that. So this is from Michelle. She says, so we were saving up our money for adoption number 4, never thinking it was going to happen. Yes, we were blessed already 3 times adopting. So for it to happen a 4th time would have truly been a miracle. So we decided to take a leap of faith and bought DVC points. As soon as we signed the contract and transferred the funds, our adoption agency called. Let's say we kept that original contract. We brought home our 4th son. I don't know how we did it because we were broke, but we did. Here we are, 14 years, 2 contracts later, a very happy Disney family of 6.
Oh, a family of 6. I love that.
That's so good.
Somehow you make it work, right?
Yep.
I love that. Jillian is my girl. This is hysterical. She said, I bought our DVC points. We had been thinking about it for years without telling my husband. He got an email about it, and when he called me, I said, so I did a thing. That's it.
Yeah.
We get that from people all the time. Where we'll talk to them and they'll be like, I think I'm ready. I'm like, awesome, congrats. He's like, let me run it by my wife first.
Yeah.
And be like, good idea.
Yeah.
Our first contract, I told Johan after.
Yeah. See, Jillian, you're in great company.
You're great.
Yeah.
He gets
By the
cars
way, we're
without
doing
you,
this.
so it's fine.
It's true, yes. We're in agreement on the big purchases. We just do it separately. This one's from Rich. We were invited to tag along with our BFFs last year on a family vacation. They were DVC members at the BoardWalk. We brought our 2 boys, who were 3 and 2 at the time. Everybody, no Disney people, told us that taking boys would be a waste of money. So he said everybody told him, but not the Disney people, that it would be a waste of money. Yeah. They wouldn't enjoy it. They wouldn't remember exactly what you were saying. They couldn't have been more wrong. Not only do they still talk about that trip last year, it brought us closer as a family. Since then, we bought 210 BoardWalk points and are currently in the process of buying 250 Saratoga contract points because of you, Derek DeBoer. Because if it wasn't for that trip, we wouldn't be here. DVC made it happen for us even before we were members. Hey, Dad, remember when we went to Disney? We can go back.
Oh, I love that.
Rich, look at that.
That's real life goosebumps.
My gosh.
Oh, Rich. Gosh, bless it.
I feel like we need that for like a a little DVC commercial.
All of these are
hey,
so...
Dad, remember?
All these are so good. I love them so much. So this is just a great one, too. This is from Lar Kathy. She said, bought some points without telling our kids. They were 21 and 23. We thought they wouldn't be interested in going to Disney. Well, made a reservation for spring break just for my husband and I at Animal Kingdom Lodge. When we told our kids about the points, my daughter, she invited herself and her boyfriend on our trip. And my son decided to come along also. Our reservation then turned into a split stay between the Poly and a one-bedroom at Animal Kingdom. Oh, what a trip we had. We made great memories with our kids. And then again, we came home and had to buy more points. So that's great.
Okay, this one is from Jean, and Jean says, okay, Derek DeBoer, here goes. Buying DVC has been a dream of mine for most of my adult life, and a dream my husband supported. But for one reason or another, it just didn't feel right to us or seem like the right time or the right investment. So we raised our daughter without DVC, Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Vacations every year. Our memories are priceless, and we are a family of 3 Disney adults now, still loving it as much as we did when we were a young family. My parents always loved to hear about our trips and always encouraged us to find ways to make those magical vacations happen because they understood how important these special trips were to us. They even went with us once, as did my husband's parents. My mom passed away over a decade ago, just months before they were to set sail on the Dream with us. So they never got to do that. But we continued to travel, and my dad became an even bigger supporter of our trips, always giving us Disney gift cards for the holidays and special occasions, and he loved to hear all about our Disney adventures. We lost my dad just about a year ago now, and just 3 weeks after telling him all about our spring break trip. Having to say goodbye to him and sell our childhood home is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And with that said, it didn't take long for us to decide it was a very appropriate time to spend some of the money from the sale of his house on our first DVC contract. The timing was perfect, as the Poly was always where he wanted to own, and with Hawaii being my parents' favorite vacation destination, it seemed owning at the new tower was just perfect. I share a birthday with my dad, too, so we decided to spend that first birthday without him at Walt Disney World. Best decision ever, by the way. And as a family, we went to our new DVC home, the Island Tower, to see it for the first time on this birthday. We had a lovely tour and made a core memory that day. I will think of Dad and the biggest Disney gift he's ever given us every time we stay as DVC members. The craziest part of this story, though, is that our Lyft driver that brought us from MCO, Orlando International Airport, to our new DVC home for our first stay there a couple of months ago had the same first name as my dad.
Oh, my God. That's crazy.
Do we all have chills and need tissues?
Wow.
That's beautiful,
Oh my God.
Patricia. A million memories, right?
I love these.
To come.
Oh.
Thank you so much for sharing. That was Jean.
Oh.
I'm sorry, that was Jean. Thank you so much, Jean, for sharing that.
So I'm going to read, I've got 2 that I'm going to read back to back. And the reason I want to group these together, and I've said this, I got to figure out what episode I've said this in.
Yeah.
But I swear the resort that pixie dust the most is Wilderness Lodge, is Copper Creek. I've had it happen.
Yeah.
Did you have it happen?
Yeah, I had a
Jeff
studio to a
Haslam had it
2-bedroom.
happen.
Yep.
I had a studio to a 2-bedroom. Like, I think there's something going on there with the team. This is from Shirley, and she said, we were upgraded from a 2-bedroom at Copper Creek to the Copper Creek Cabins.
Oh.
They are amazing. I could live there.
Lovely upgrade.
I could live there too.
Oh.
It's funny because when you go there, you're like, it's so efficiently built to where there's plenty of storage. There's plenty. You're like, oh, I could live in a tiny cabin at Magic Kingdom.
Easy.
This one's from Karen. So along the theme of Wilderness Lodge, we'll stay in that same mode. She said, so long ago as young adults, my husband now and I took our first trip to Disney World together. It was also my first time visiting Florida. I was 22 years old. We spent time at one park and then decided to wander to Wilderness Lodge. This is like a very you get married and you wander to Wilderness Lodge. Just to see how much a room would cost there for a night. This is the same as the other couple. Being young and on a budget, whatever the number was quoted to us was out of our price range. Wow, we could never pay for sleeping there. The next year we toured on our honeymoon, we toured at the BoardWalk, mainly because of the free ice cream. It was too good to pass up. After the tour, we confidently decided that we probably wouldn't want a vacation at Disney every year anyway. So they talked themselves out of it. Years passed, we finished college and traveled to other places, none of which came close to the level of Disney customer service. Eventually started growing our family, and as the kids came along, our travel needs changed. We found ourselves seriously reconsidering DVC. It just made so much more sense. With more kids, we'd need more space and convenience that Disney offers. After becoming members, we realized, ironically, we still hadn't stayed at the Wilderness Lodge. So we finally booked a stay there, checking in, wearing our matching Carl and Ellie shirts from Up. Because, of course, adventure is out there. And to our absolute amazement, we were pixie dusted and upgraded to a Cascade cabin. We couldn't believe it. It was pure Disney magic and honestly brought us to tears.
Oh my God.
So if you're looking for pixie dust, Disney
I'm
Confessional
here, go book Copper Creek.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All of a sudden, every room at Boulder and Copper is booked up for the next year. Right after this show airs. So this one made me laugh because it reminded me of our other one. That's what I love about these, because some are like so heartfelt and I want to cry.
Yeah.
And then other ones just make me laugh, like Doc. Doc said, after a very delayed flight out of Boston, we finally arrived at the Poly for our first stay there at 1:30 a.m. The cast member in the lobby kindly drew on a map to our building, but after working all day and travel days, it might have well been in hieroglyphics. We had no idea where we were going, and I was willing to take a snooze on the bench. Fortunately, a cast member came by in a golf cart and directed us. We were only, it turns out, about 5 miles, 50 yards from our destination. It was worth it at the end of the day for that park view, he says. So I get lost at the Poly sometimes trying to find my room in like the middle of the day. So I can't even imagine like 1:30 a.m.
And another member from Boston.
It's a confusing resort with the different longhouses and everything.
Yeah. Okay, this one is from Laura, and Laura says, I lost my husband in the fall of 2023. We were 6 days shy of 30 years, and he was my high school sweetheart. I was deeply saddened. He left me money in a fund that I didn't know what to do with, and I could hear him telling me, keep creating memories, never give up on your dreams, travel with our son for as long as you can. As youngsters out of college, we were annual pass holders, and he knew how much I loved Disney. After much stressing, I purchased a DVC contract with that money. Fast forward to November 2023, it was 3 days after losing my dad. My mom tells me to take my son and go to Disney. It's the right thing to do. This was to be our very first DVC stay. With tears in our eyes, we head to Disney. We attended the Very Merry Christmas party, and during the first parade, we went to visit Mickey. He sees the button I'm wearing that says, I'm celebrating homecoming. I bust out into tears and say, my husband passed away and left me money to buy DVC so I can come see you. He hugged me and hugged me and hugged me again. It was the best therapy ever. The cast members are the best, and they took pictures of the exchange. The rest of the week, I was so uplifted by this experience that my son and I celebrated our new DVC memories and shed some tears. I can't help but tell this story over and over again. It meant the world to me. I've now had my second DVC stay, and my son and I just vacation differently now. We are Disney adults who appreciate every moment, big and small.
Oh,
love that.
I love that, Laura. That's amazing.
Thank you, Laura.
These are so good.
There's too many, many more.
Well, this is from Danny on our team. This is the one we were kind of joking about earlier. Yeah. So Danny is an expert planner, world traveler, and she said, oh boy, I'm embarrassed to share this confession. She said, Kev, her husband, and I were completing our year of traveling around the world. She managed to go all the way around the world, and we thought the perfect way to finish the most epic adventure of our life was at Aulani and Disneyland, since we met while working at Disney. So we flew from Australia to Fiji and Fiji to Hawaii. It was a long day of travel, and we were so excited to be at Aulani. Well, we go to check in, and we are chatting away with the lovely cast member when all of a sudden she looks up and says, you're early. We knew check-in and the time was a little bit early, but we wanted to go hang out at the Waikoloa Valley until we could get into our villa. What we didn't realize was that we were very early. I'm talking an entire day. You would think after traveling around the globe for a year, we would have gotten the whole time change thing down. Nope, we miscalculated this one. We ended up having to pay cash for that room for that night. And boy, were we so thankful to be DVC members. When you're a member, you truly forget how expensive the rooms are when you're staying on.
So true, right? Oh my gosh.
That is so funny.
Oh, Danny, the world traveler. We all make mistakes, though. All make mistakes.
So I love this one too. So this is from Jessica. And Jessica says, buying DVC with Grand Floridian as her home resort was a true dream. I always thought it would be too expensive, but when they opened up Big Pine Key, we did all the math and we bought right away. Then I had booked a single night, 1-bedroom at the Riviera. I wasn't too stoked, as I believe some of the negative press about it being just a big gray building, but the moment we walked in and strolled to the Skyliner, I was so impressed. My dad commented, he's never been so relaxed walking into Rope Drop at Epcot. That evening we were exhausted, suffering from an open to a closing park. We know better, but of course we did it. We had a super relaxing night Skyliner ride, walking by the lit fountains and mosaics, and then the larger artwork of Wendy reading a bedtime story. Walked into our gorgeous room and our jaws dropped. We were exhausted, but my son begged for a bubble bath. I know we've all been there with kids. In that giant tub. So, of course, we said yes. The whole night turned around for us. Next day, we enjoyed pool time. We bought our second contract the next month at the Riviera. It was the best decision ever to join DVC. We've already made so many memories and have only been members since winter 2022. So thank you for all the episodes you've made, and congratulations on your 50th episode, World of
Next
DVC.
month.
Yes.
Thank you very
She's
much.
The first one, no, Jessica's the first one to officially congratulate us.
Thank you,
Jessica. That's wonderful. This one is from Jody, and Jody says our first day as DVC owners was September 2022. We were walking around the BoardWalk lobby for our room to be ready, and a kind cast member asked if we needed help, but we said we were just waiting for our room text. She pulled us over to the desk, asked if we were celebrating anything, so we told her we were there for a quick anniversary trip. She found us a room, so off we went. The next day, we found this incredible gift on our table, and we'll put the picture up of the gift that they gave her. So more magic that's happening at the resorts from just amazing cast members.
And sometimes it's the little things, too. Like, it doesn't have to be. Not that anyone's going to turn down being upgraded to a different room. But even it's the little things, like an extra button that you didn't plan on, or like a cookie.
It's so true.
That's the cool stuff.
Yeah.
This is what Ryan said. He said, I recorded our first stay at a Bay Lake Tower 1-bedroom. And while I know Derek doesn't like Bay Lake Tower, listening to my kids' reaction, especially my daughter's, who was 7 at the time, is so cute. They were really impressed with the room. Instant add-on-itis.
See? That's what I love. Just because I don't use my points there doesn't mean you shouldn't use your points there. I'm willing to stay if you want to book it for me. So, Connie says here, DVC has given me so many amazing memories. In 2019, my husband and I brought our daughter, son-in-law, and 4 grandkids to Old Key West for a week stay in a grand villa. My brother joined us for a few days, and on the 3rd day, we surprised them all when my husband and I renewed our vows under the family tree at the resort for our 40th anniversary. Then, of course, we went to the Magic Kingdom. How cool is that?
Love that.
What's the family tree at Old Key West?
I don't know.
Wait, is it?
Kind of right here, under the family tree at the resort for our 40th anniversary.
I don't know.
I need to Google some stuff. Or Connie, send me a picture of your family tree. info@worldofdvc.com, because I want to know what the family tree is.
Yeah.
She put a picture of the Magic Kingdom I saw on DVC
I think I saw
Clubhouse,
that,
but not the family tree. So yeah, Connie, please hook us up. What are we missing?
I want to know about the
we need to know about
tree.
the family tree.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, your 30th is next year, so maybe
the family
you
tree.
do a vow renewal of the family tree.
I'm booking the family tree right now.
Exactly. This one is from Marcella, and Marcella says, I traveled solo with our 2 children, ages 4 and 6, and we were upgraded from a Saratoga Springs studio to a dedicated 2-bedroom. How cool is that? We had so many beds. My kids gave a bed to each of their stuffed animals.
We've done that before.
My son slept on the Murphy bed with Stuffy on the 5th sleeper. My daughter slept in the dedicated 2-bedroom with 2 queens, one for her and one for her stuffed animal. I took the king in the main bedroom, and it was so much space for us. That's awesome. Every bed full.
Yeah, that's so
Love
great.
that.
Filled with stuffed
When you
animals.
can't fill it with people, you fill it with the
Fill it with your
stuffies.
stuffies.
I love it.
This one's from Jim. He said, hot take for Derek. We joined DVC as new members last year with Polynesian as our home resort. We decided to use our welcome home stay, spending 7 nights at the BoardWalk in May because of the limited availability, and we love Epcot. Before the trip, we talked about adding resale points at BoardWalk, but the lack of the splash pad for our 1-year-old daughter is now a deal breaker. We spent most of the trip wishing we had just booked the Polynesian. Probably quite a few years before we stay at an Epcot resort again. It is different how, like, where you stay will change as your kids grow older.
I told Jim, I commented on his post, because as a BoardWalk owner forever, they got to redo that pool. Like, that pool needs to be redone. They need a splash pad. They need more stuff. So, Jim, I'm with you.
They do.
100%.
When I was a kid, my first DVC stay ever was at the BoardWalk. But at the time, when you were at the BoardWalk, you got a wristband to go to the beach club pool.
Right.
At that time,
Yeah, I remember those days.
And so we were able to use the beach club pool.
Oh, that's nice.
You do this one, and then I'll do this one, and you do that one.
Okay, sure. So I have this one from Megan. It's short and sweet. You can't get any better than this.
No.
Checked in for a night in a studio at the Polynesian and got upgraded to a bungalow.
Boom.
Exactly.
Say no more.
That's perfect.
Yeah. You have no more?
No.
Oh, okay. So here, well, I'll do this one. You do that one. So this one is from. I have to bring it a little closer though. Thank you. So this is from Julie, and no, I don't need your glasses. Julie says, when I got my husband to agree to buying a DVC resale contract, I knew his financially frugal nature would be drawn to Saratoga, Old Key West, Vero, or Hilton Head. But I knew the advice to buy where you want to actually stay. So when I presented him the options of our home resort choices, confession, I didn't mention those resorts.
That one is hilarious.
Yeah. I only told him about the resorts that I would be comfortable owning and let him pick from there. Complete with PowerPoint presentation. Julie. Yeah. He chose Boulder Ridge, which appealed to his frugal nature and his love of Wilderness Lodge. Since we are older, the 2042 expiration of Boulder Ridge was actually a plus too.
Oh, that was so
That was
great.
great. Yeah, thank you, Julie, for that.
love
It was a beautiful
that.
story. Yeah.
God.
Love her strategy.
It makes me want to get more points. Almost.
No.
That was great. So thank you guys for taking the time to contribute.
We loved your DVC
These
confessionals.
are
This is a
always
fun one.
so fun
If you have
to
more,
do.
send them over. Maybe we'll do a part 2.
I was
I
going to
know.
say,
It was
we almost
really
have
fun.
to do a part 2 because I don't even think we had time to get to all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
Oh,
even
yeah,
have a few.
definitely.
So if we didn't get to yours, we promise
We will.
We will later. But thank you guys out for being the best community in the world. That we
Truly.
can literally have this thrown at us within like one day before we tape.
I know.
And you had so many people jump to be able to respond because they were excited that it was our 50th.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And it's the lead up to the 50th.
Cue
This
the
is
sad trombone.
Yeah, the pre-show before the 50th.
Pre-show.
Exactly.
So remember, let us know what you, topic-wise, would love to see us talk about in the next, show or two, whatever. Just tell us. Put it in the comments. Let us know your favorite topic. Send it to us at info@worldofdvc.com. Because again, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you.
Nope.
So we want to talk about what you want us to hear us talk about.
We will say.
Right?
I feel like, what's that movie? Help me.
Help you.
Help you.
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
Help
Yeah.
me.
Help you.
Help me. Help you. Yes.
Tell us, what do you want us to blather on about? Because we want to talk about what you want to hear. So that's
They got
most
it. They got
important.
it. Yeah.
And remember, you have a chance to win a $49
Yeah.
gift card, which is a down payment for a new cell phone for these.
For Joan, who lost
Joan.
4 in, Bay Lake somewhere.
So thank you for an amazing 49, almost 50 episodes of the World of DVC Show. One last thing to do.
Yep. Our long-standing tradition.
That's it. So thanks for tuning in, and
Thank you, everyone.
we'll
see you real soon.
49.
And a half.
Gosh.
It starts with a spark, alive in our hearts, a chance